Welcome, people needing to be moved, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And joining us again, our occasional host. Now he's kind of sliding into that regular spot now, Mr. Todd.
Hi.
And also joining us, we're almost like a full house tonight too. I feel so excited. We've got from Anaheim, California. We got Mike's girlfriend, Jonna, joining us again. When was it? Jonna? This way.
There we go.
When was the last time you did one of these? I think, was it Frozen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then also joining us yet again from the Black Girls Do Stuff Too podcast, the lovely and talented Nick. So, because we always have to ask you, Nick, you know the system by now here. For those who are not familiar with your show, tell us a little bit about your show.
Whoop.
Oh, no,
we're not hearing you.
Oh, we're muted. You there?
Nope, can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
She'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Okay, so we'll get back to Nick in a few minutes. So, we're doing a bit of a slight change in format for this month, for a couple of reasons. One, we just did a whole slew of movie reviews, but also because of the enclosures as they are, we're kind of like missing stuff that really is special to us. And for everybody here, it's the Walt Disney parks. I think we're all in agreement. We all love the Walt Disney parks. Jonna, Todd, Mike.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a little too much.
Yeah, just a little bit.
No such thing as too much.
Exactly.
I have an annual pass and it's going to waste.
Yeah.
What a shame. But we have a very good friend of the show, Matt Jones, who also works for Disney Parks right now. So hopefully he'll be back to work very soon. Because he's got to get back to Cars Land. Good job. And
actually, I have a friend who works for Disney World, and she's still working because she has the glamour behind the scenes jobs.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool.
Keeping in the okay.
Hey, there she is.
Woo!
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
So I was just explaining why we decided to change it up this month, moving away from movies and reviewing the rides of our favorite rides in the Disney World parks. At some point, we'll also hit Disneyland for those of us who've ever been to Disneyland. You live in walking distance, Jonna.
She does.
But all right. So before we were so rudely technologically interrupted, Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about Black Girls Do Stuff Too?
Yes, we are a podcast and now moving more into blogging, but we cover lifestyle topics, comics, movies, TV, pop culture in general, and just lending a voice in an area where we feel we're underrepresented to kind of get some new perspectives and let people know you don't just have to call on us for like Black Panther. We talk about everything. So, that's what we do.
Awesome. So if you ask, she doesn't have an inside scoop on Black Panther 2.
No, unfortunately, although I have my theories.
I've got my theories as well.
Yeah, we all have our theories. Now we have to wait. Now we have to wait even longer.
I know.
I don't think that one's been pushed off yet.
No, it hasn't. But production will end up getting pushed off the longer this goes, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's open the gates and do the rope drop for Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom. The first park opened in 1971 in not really Orlando, Florida. It's more
it's its own thing.
It is kind of its own thing.
It's really kind of in between Kissimmee and Orlando.
Right. But what's the actual name? Is it Bay Lake?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Bay Lake, Orlando.
Reedy Creek to start.
Yes, Reedy Creek. Reedy Creek. Yeah.
So,
what a shrewd businessman he was.
Yes, he was.
It's amazing the stories that you hear about, just like kind of covertly going in and buying up land really cheap.
Yeah, during one of my behind the scenes tours of it, apparently he bought, like, using like shell corporations, he bought like 90% of the land that he owned back then, real dirt cheap. But as soon as the word got out that it was Disney buying it, the last 10% he bought cost the same amount as the 90% he bought.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
because they just jacked the price up because, hey, it's Disney, he can pay.
Exactly. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the part when you think of like Disney World rides, this is where you think of all the rides. I mean, there's some really great innovative stuff that in the intervening weeks we're going to discuss some of the great rides at Epcot and Disney Hollywood Studio and Animal Kingdom. But tonight we are exclusively focusing on the Magic Kingdom. We have each picked one ride that will be kind of our jumping off point, but we'll all get involved in having a discussion about that. But I did take it first off to both Facebook and Twitter. I held two separate polls, and we got tactically we actually got one result for both of them, but because there was a three-way tie on Twitter, we'll talk about the Facebook poll first. The runaway winner on our Facebook poll was Big Thunder Mountain.
Oh, I get it. I get what you did there. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't even realize I did that. Thank you, Mike, for catching on the thing I was totally not intending to do. I freaking love this ride. It's honestly, it was between the ride I'm going to discuss later on and this one, because I think I actually might like, just in overall terms, I think I might like Big Thunder Mountain more. It's definitely become the family roller coaster. Last year, I think we went on it no less than 5 or 6 times. We absolutely love it. We do the whole thing. We get, we kind of make fun of the old prospector voice as we're getting into the car. Make sure your hands and feet are inside the car at all times.
Varmints.
For the wild is right the way.
Wilderness.
And then that last turn, there are the dinosaur bones embedded in the side of the rock. And every time, and I credit my wife for coming up with this when we went a few years ago, where the bones come up and you just point and go, look at the bones!
Andy, I'm going to do that the next time I go, and we'll have no idea what I'm talking about.
That's fine. That's quite all right. It's like last year, well, we did, was it 2 years ago, Mike and Jonna, that we did the best and worst of Disney with Julie?
I think so, yeah.
And we were talking about the American Pavilion in Epcot. And Julie said they're the coldest bathrooms on property. And I told her that now you've challenged me. I'm going to go into one of their bathrooms when I go in a year, which I think we were built out to about a year at that point. And I'm just going to text you apropos of nothing with, you were right.
Did you?
I did. You guys were looped in on that. Yes, I did. True to my word. So let's, what do you guys have any, thoughts on Big Thunder Mountain? I know, Nick, you said the last time you were there was 2012, right?
Yeah, we took my niece when she was like 2 or 3 years old.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go on Big Thunder Mountain?
We did. So I went when I was like 10 or 11. I went, and then we went again in 2012. So I know I got on it as an adult in 2012. If you could say I was an adult then. I don't consider myself an adult now.
Join the club.
Right. So I remember it, but it's not like fresh in my head for that one.
Yeah. Anybody else?
That's one ride that, oddly enough, I haven't actually ridden at Disney World. So it was down when we were there. And it's hard enough to get Mike on a roller coaster anyway. I tried.
Oh.
You do drag me on to Big Thunder Mountain, absolutely. Sometimes you drag me onto Space Mountain as well.
Yes. But I'm curious because I do want to try it sometime because Julie, who of course has been you guys many times before, definitely prefers Walt Disney World's version to Disneyland's.
Okay.
And so I'm curious to find out the why on that.
I've heard that Disney World's is a longer because they were able to build it a little bit bigger. In Disneyland, they were just
definitely not as tight.
Yeah, they were restricted within the land that they had for the mine train through mine train through nature's wilderness, which I really wish I could have gone on.
And they were really pinched because it butts right up against the rivers of America in Disneyland. So again, their footprint was very small, and I'd like to see the larger, more intense version because I'm a coaster junkie.
Yes, she is.
Me too.
Nice. Well, one day when we all get that consequence-free money, party at Disney World.
Yeah, I love this ride. It's one of my favorites on Disney property. It always has been. I was I went when I was 2 and when I was 4. When I was 4, my parents took me on Space Mountain, which I have a story about that, and had a terrible experience. But for some reason, I could do Thunder Mountain when I was a kid.
Huh.
I didn't like big drops, I think, and Thunder Mountain doesn't really have those.
I don't really know.
I rode that thing, probably 4 or 5 times when I was 4, and then didn't ride it again until I was like 18, and it still was one of my favorites even after that. So
yeah,
I've been on also Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland Paris, which is very similar.
Oui.
Not the
I actually like the back. I like that there actually is a backstory to the ride.
Oh, the one that they tell you on the Mark Twain ferry boat?
Yeah, but like there's the comic books and whatever, but there actually is a backstory in that when they were making the Big Thunder Mine, they dug too deep and they just disturbed the spirits, and that's why kind of like halfway through the ride when you're going up that second hill, you have all the dynamite exploding around you, and then it starts going wild.
The dwarves dug too deep and too greedily.
Yeah, they disturbed Smaug.
Actually, no, they would have.
They
would have disturbed the Balrog.
Yeah,
that's where the joke was going, Mike.
Yes. I went Hobbit. You went Lord of the Rings.
The last year when we went, we did 2 days at Magic Kingdom, and both nights we closed out our ride going experience with 2 consecutive trips around Big Thunder.
Nice.
It was awesome. My kids love that ride.
Do you go every year?
No, I wish I could. It seems like we do, because in the last 4 years we've gone 3 times. But before that, the last time I had gone was like in 1993. Okay. And that was the first time I ever rode Big Thunder Mountain. And then when we took my daughter for her 8th birthday in 2016, it was closed for refurbishment. So I didn't get to go on. So when I took my wife for her birthday the following year, we went on it, and I was like, I'm just texting everybody like, this ride is just as awesome as I remember it being.
That's amazing.
So
always good when things hold up.
I love that. I love that. There hasn't been a ride at Disney World that I used to love as a child, and now like, wow, that thing sucks. What was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the pseudo winner, or the
Twitter winner
of the Twitter poll, and that is It's a Small World.
Ooh, gives me the heebie-jeebies.
That's Jonna's favorite ride.
Is it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She loves it so much, don't you, Jonna?
It still gives me flashbacks. My biggest nightmare was once when I heard about folks who got stuck on it, and it just you couldn't escape the music.
Ooh, I think Todd has a story about that.
Been there, been stuck. It wasn't crazy. It was toward the end in kind of that tunnel where they now have, they have your picture and your, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, your name. Yeah.
You still get the song over and over again. Also, during the Christmas party 2.5 years ago in 2017, and we went mainly for the rides that have very little wait. So we got to ride Small World 3 times in a row because my daughter was 5 and that's what we wanted to do. So the guy was like, the cast member, he's like, you can just stay on. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Took off again. It's a classic ride.
It's a must do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, Mike, you guys have any thoughts on this one?
I hate that ride. I did it once. One time is enough. I don't like animatronic dolls. Like I have a thing with child's play, and so I don't like it. I don't care that it's like multicultural and all that, which is usually our jam. I'm like, I'm an equal opportunity hater because I don't like any of these dolls. Like I hate them so much. So one time I think you should do it because it's such a classic, but when you go on, you'll either enjoy it or you'll get the heebie-jeebies like I had the whole time. So.
I have a weird relationship with this ride. I like it because it's like a nice, smooth, nice, slow boat ride, which I love. And in general, the music it's annoying, but not like overly so. It's a classic. The Sherman Brothers. I will say that the dolls blinking is intensely creepy. It's like they're learning and adapting. No. But this.
I think my favorite.
Go ahead.
Yes. Nope.
I think the favorite thing for me is the hippo, the purple hippo.
Okay.
I
think the animals are kind of cute.
No particular reason. Yeah, the animals are not as creepy as the dolls. And I do like that. I don't know if they've done this in Disney World, but I know in California Adventure, the surfing scene for Hawaii now features Lilo and Stitch on the surfboard with a little tiny bobblehead Elvis.
That is purely a California experience.
Okay.
Yeah, in Florida, it's still the classic original one. In actually California, they've added in one of the scenes they got Ariel and Flounder, and like the Arabian scenes you've got Jasmine and Aladdin. They've actually added characters from the movies into the ride in appropriate places.
Right.
It actually really makes it a little bit nicer. But Jonna only. Huh?
Go ahead.
Jonna only likes it during the holiday season when they have a different song playing.
Yeah.
I am consistently reminded by my loving mother, who has been with me to Disney on multiple occasions, that she saw the original Small World at the World's Fair in 1964 in Queens.
Wow.
So every time we go on, she's like, I saw this. I'm like, yeah, Mom, yeah, I know. I think bottom line, I don't mind this ride. I don't want to get stuck on it, and I'm not going to wait longer than 10 minutes.
That's
fair.
I think that's the consensus with that one. I do love the lesson that is learned, though, is that we are all of one world. We are all of one people. We are many cultures, many languages. But at the end of the day, as long as we end the ride with everyone singing English, we're good to go.
Sounds good to me.
Lesson learned. So I do want to point out one thing before we go into our own picks here, and this was more kind of an administrative snafu on my part. I did not include Splash Mountain on any of our polls.
I just figured that one would be taken.
Honestly, it's just one of those things because Twitter only allows you 4. I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
So this wasn't a zippity doo-dah day.
It was not a zippity doo-dah day, but
I really like Splash Mountain in Florida. yours is, I give points to Florida for Splash Mountain there. For one thing, I went on it and managed to stay dry. Because your seating is completely different than ours.
Yeah, it is. The only memories that I really hold of that one are my daughter screaming bloody murder all 3 times she's been on it. And when my wife and I went for her birthday trip, you know how like the flume log goes down and then they've got like those 2 jets that make the splash look bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming around. This is the first time you enter the outdoor area of it. Flume is coming down to our right. The jets go, and one of the jets blasts my wife in the face.
Oh.
She got wet before she was supposed to.
Yeah.
Wet for the rest of the evening on our, and we were there for the extra hours, so the sun had already pretty much gone down.
Ooh.
That's rough.
That is rough.
I've also not stuck on that ride, so.
Jonna dragged me out.
And Mike refused to go on the one in Florida when we went, so I had to go on my own.
Yeah, she dragged me on the one out in California once, and that was plenty enough. Thank you.
All you need to do, Mike, is look straight ahead at the drop. Don't even look down. Look straight ahead.
I don't care.
It worked for my daughter. It will work for you. Okay.
I don't care.
You're lost, my friend. Anyway, let's get on to our picks
fine.
here. Who wants to go first?
How about Nick?
Nick, why don't you go first? What was your pick?
I feel like I'm not as attached to mine because all of my rides have been replaced. So I went with Haunted Mansion.
A classic.
Yes, I like that one a lot because I do remember going on it both when I was a kid and then we took my niece. And when I was a kid, I was uneasy, but I still liked it. When she was little, she was terrified. Like she wanted to find a way to get off. And so for me, that's kind of right up my alley because I'm a big horror buff anyway. And I've always liked horror movies since I was little. So the other 2, when I was talking to Andy, I was like, oh, what about this one? What about this one? And they were all kind of in that dark themed nature. And so that's why I picked Haunted Mansion. I like the kind of old Hollywood horror tale of it all. And I did, once I picked it, I did some like research on it and I found out some interesting facts, like the original design that they wanted. They actually researched a lot of like New Orleans and old plantations to get that like antebellum style. Which makes a lot of sense, but Walt Disney didn't want like a rundown looking building on Disney property, and I was like, dang, he was like a micromanager for sure. And so but I do think that would have added to the character and to the charm of the ride. But even the way that it is, I really enjoy it, and it is an all age ride. So if you go with any group of people, everyone can kind of get on and it's not too intense. So
yeah, it definitely has a very strong following. Mm-hmm. Like there's one store like right near the entranceway to Haunted Mansion that is just Haunted Mansion stuff.
Memento Mori.
Memento Mori.
Thank you.
Memento Mori.
I gotta tell you,
want to say.
I gotta tell you, this ride always astounds me as how innovative the special effects are in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's less that they're innovative, but that it feels
I never get sick of seeing that ballroom.
The funny thing is, a lot of those effects have been around since the Victorian era.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
That's the amazing part.
Yeah, I saw that the one in Disneyland was 50 as of last year, and this one will be 50 next year. So that's like pretty cool, and it inspired also like the one in Paris, the one in Tokyo, kind of have riffs of it as well. And so one of my life goals is to visit all the Disney property, like Disneyland, Disney World. So I've only been to Disney World though, so I'm like not checking this list off very well. But when I go, I do intend on riding this at like every location. So
nice.
Haunted Mansion is actually my favorite ride.
Mm-hmm.
But I let you have that one, Nick. So.
Thank you, because I was struggling. I was like, when did they close this one? When they close this one? So, thank you.
There were no bad choices tonight.
No.
I didn't know
There were no bad
Splash Mountain.
choices that
I just figured someone was gonna have Splash Mountain, so I didn't pick it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
No, I'm kind of happy that you picked Haunted Mansion because I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody here, but it really is. It's a very special ride to me. Again, it's because, the innovation that 150, 200-year-old special effects that still hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really
And no, go ahead, Todd.
I didn't ride this ride until I was 26.
Oh,
Yeah, it was deemed too scary when I was a kid, and then when I went, I sang there in high school, and we were so focused on getting to Splash Mountain and Thunder Mountain coming around Liberty Square, we completely missed it.
Oh,
And then when I was planning my next trip with my family, I was like, where I don't even know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it by that much.
wow. My son was terrified, but he was terrified before he went on.
Me too.
I remember being a kid at the Disneyland version and being scared out of my socks, especially since at the end they project the ghost right smack in the middle of your doom buggy. So you're cringing away from it, and your supportive.
Yeah, it's I love getting that picture. I always love getting the picture because everyone looks just terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And that I really feel bad too because I wanted to go on. That's usually like a 2 per trip ride for me, and last year it was just like 1 because my son just refused to go on a second time.
I don't honestly blame him because, like, especially if he's young, like, I know for me, the first ride, when we went to Disney for my first time, the first ride we got on scared me so bad that anything that looked scary, I was like, I really don't know if I want to go on this. And so I was on, but I was so, like, hyper aware that at the time I wouldn't have rode it again. Now, obviously I would, but yeah.
Awesome.
Disney World has the best queue line too. So interactive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's also great too if you go to like the later, like the ticketed extra hours events and you go on that because the people working the stretch room are so invested in that character. It's like they'll turn off the lights for a second and they will just like show up behind somebody and just stare like daggers into their back.
But yeah, if you have as much as the one in Florida is fantastic, the one now in California, it does have the Hatbox Ghost and it does have the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay during the holiday seasons. Yeah, they completely redo the entire interior with Jack Skellington and characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. So it is definitely worth a trip.
Nick is, I can tell, Nick is like mentally cashing in her 401k right now because she's going to go to Anaheim.
I'm 100%. That is, I love Nightmare Before Christmas. If you guys couldn't tell by my reaction, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anytime from October to December, definitely.
Okay.
Awesome. Shall we move on to another ride?
Yes.
Sorry, they are attractions. They're not the common ride. They are attractions.
And you're a guest. Thank you.
And then
You get a point like this. 2
not
fingers.
employees, they're cast members.
Or like this. They can also do the full hand.
That's true.
Yep, 2, not 1, 2.
2 or all.
So anyway, okay, yeah, this way. You can go this way, or you can go that way. All right. Who wants to go next?
How about our other guest, Jonna?
Yeah, Jonna, why don't you let us know the ride you want to talk about?
Well, unlike the rest of you, I didn't grow up going to Disney World. I went once when I was 5, and there was not much Magic Kingdom at that point. And certainly not much that I remember, quite honestly. I think the biggest thing that stuck out of my mind at that time was the boat ride over to the park itself. But when I went more recently with Mike, they had just introduced the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And I was really intrigued by the fact that, one, it's a swinging coaster. It has swinging cars, which sounds like it would add more roughness to the ride, but it actually does anything but. It forms a really smooth ride when you're going into those curves. And I really appreciated that. Nice because it also you get in that is a roller coaster crossed with a dark ride, and it's a whole new thing, different than I'd seen before. So I really was appreciating that. You start out like a regular roller coaster, and then you get into the mine, and you have the dwarves, and they're mining, and Dopey's there with his little diamond eyes faceted all over the place. They do projections of the dwarves marching along as they're singing hi-ho, and the gems are glistening and shining in the dark. And then it shoots you out again, and you get more of a traditional roller coaster feel, but not with any big drops. Again, it's a little bit more like you said with Big Thunder Mountain.
It's a lot of like side angle,
and
a lot of steep sides.
Then you come to a complete halt because you have to stop and look to the side. And then you can admire Snow White and the dwarves dancing in the little cottage, and the very door cackling.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciated that it was something new, something different. Even though it did reuse parts from, I guess, Disney World's version of the Snow White Scary Adventure, which they did remove.
Yeah. I think this ride is phenomenal. You know, it never even occurred to me to consider it to be a roller coaster, part dark ride. That's a great way of putting it.
Mm.
So it just kind of occurred to me because that New Fantasyland opened in 2012. Nick, were you there when they opened New Fantasyland?
So I was there in 2012 in July.
Do you remember this one?
I know we didn't ride it because I had a 2-year-old with me, so I was limited in what I could get on. So I know I haven't ridden that because I was listening like, oh, that's interesting, that's nice. Because I think the big thing when I went was all the Star Wars things. That's what I remember.
Okay,
with like all the big Star Wars attractions that were going on at the time.
Okay.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you'd gone in July 2012, I imagine even if you had wanted to go on the Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, the line would have been astronomically huge.
It's already. I mean, if I go on my Disney experience right now, it's probably even going to show me a 3.5-hour wait, even though the park is closed.
Yeah, we met Snow White at the park.
Oh.
We didn't get a chance to go on her ride.
Yeah, it is a fun roller coaster. It's not wait in line for 3.5 hours worth of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely a fast pass. You know, the second you have the opportunity to, and just run to it at opening.
This opened in May of 2014. So
2014. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
I know that because I went in June of 2014, and it did have 3-hour waits. So
I was like, I don't remember that, but I remember meeting Snow White. So
yeah,
I would say that even if you say you can't fast pass it, but the line is like maybe half an hour or so, I would say still go because there's a lot of stuff even in the queue to really kind of immerse you in the Snow White world and just little fun little games to play around. I like how they've been making more interactive queues to make things a little bit more manageable.
absolutely.
Distract the children.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Jonna,
I think the animatronics and the dark ride portion. What's that, Todd?
Unbelievable. I was just going to say the animatronics are amazing, but also I also appreciate the swaying coaster aspect of it. My nieces and nephews and daughter love riding that ride with me because I just go crazy
Yeah.
I just give them like, you know, a way more intense ride than they ever thought.
Yeah. As I was mentioning about the animatronics, the cool thing about them is that their faces are projected on, so it's not like a rubber mask with motors inside to work the jaw and the eyes. So it's a very seamless look. And stuff like, you know, Jonna had mentioned the whole thing with Dopey with the diamonds in his eyes and showing like all the different little eyes, the facets. It looks so amazing.
Yeah.
And the best part is too, again, this is one of those late night, you either get the extra hour because you're staying in one of their resorts, or you're paid for the extra hours. The people that go on that ride at like 1 a.m. are singing along. The second you slow down and you enter that mine, everybody is singing. And it's not just the hi ho, it's the we dig digs.
Well, if you're there that late, you're probably also drunk.
No, because Magic Kingdom serves very little alcohol.
Yeah, I know.
We're not talking about Epcot.
Yeah. Oh, then you're definitely drunk.
Oh yeah.
I also think this is cool. Like Andy, like you said, you rode Big Thunder Mountain at night before exiting the park. This has a really cool view on it at night because you can see the castle lit up. You can see Future World. You can see kind of pretty much everything in the direct vicinity.
If you're on this during the fireworks, it's amazing. I mean, I've seen video of people who are on it while the fireworks are going, and it's crazy. So
prime location.
It's a great location. It's a fun ride. Now, Todd, let's go with you next, my friend. The other ride with the sorry, I didn't realize while I was doing that you were drinking. With the other crazy long wait.
Crazy long wait for a crazy good ride. Am I right? Peter Pan's Flight, which is one of my favorites. I think it's really cool. It was an opening day ride in both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So I think that puts it in pretty rare company. I think it was very much ahead of its time in terms of the ride design and the track layout for 1955, and then a slightly updated in 1971. But that motorized walkway, and you got to rush to get in the boat, and then you strap in, and then the boat you're flying, and it's amazing. I love every second of it. It's too short, but I love every second of it.
I agree with that. It is definitely too short,
especially for a 120-minute wait like this. 120 seconds of a ride.
Fast pass it. That's another one you have to fast pass.
You have to.
It took me a long time to truly appreciate this ride, but by our last trip, I was like, I really understand this ride now. It's like Little Sebastian. It's just like, I get it now.
You get it.
I get it.
Don't be a Ben Wyatt.
What do you guys think?
I do remember this ride, and I remember really liking it. I remember it from when I was young, and I really like this one a lot. I think I like anything that gives you like a sense of weightlessness anyway. And so I really enjoyed this one, and I agree. I remember being like, wait, what? It's over? So it was one of those, because we didn't have Fast Pass when we went back then. So I remember just waiting for everything and then being like, it's over already? Can we do it again? Do we have to wait all over again? So that's a great pick.
I am so happy I became addicted to Disney World in the age of Fast Pass. I can't imagine what that would be like to not be able to fast pass my favorite rides and actually have to sit and wait in line. I mean, I've done it. I've been to Disneyland a few times when I was way younger. And, as I mentioned, my sainted mother would just stand there and wait in line while my sister and I did whatever the hell we were doing. Bye, Mom! But how about you guys, Mike, Jonna?
I didn't go on it in Florida because, as you say, the wait was astronomical, and we did not get fast passes for that one. But if it is akin to its West Coast cousin, then I think what really intrigues me is I always liked, it almost is like a series of miniature dollhouse vignettes of the story. You've got the park with a little tiny statue of Peter Pan in the middle of the park. You've got I won't say totally miniature, but the miniaturized version of the island where you're going over and the rainbow's arcing past it.
Yeah.
There's something very satisfying about that, and the effects that they can pull off of the night sky with the stars around you. And considering the technology that they were working with, it's really an impressive set of illusions that they pull off.
Yeah. I love this ride, and whenever we can go on it, I will absolutely go on it. I'm consistently amazed and baffled how huge the lines are. I mean, it's a fun ride, but it's not hour and a half long wait ride.
Do you think it's because they renovated the queue area to make it more fun and interesting?
I mean, that's the only solution I can think of, because I mean, there is really, I get people might like it, but I don't get it. I mean, within I would say half an hour, maybe an hour of the park opening, the line is usually at about between an hour to 2 hours, which is just insane.
I think it's partly because it is totally kid friendly. There aren't really any scary moments in it, so it's safe to bring the littlest little ones on that ride, because it's not going to traumatize them. It's not like the Haunted Mansion where they're going to be cowering away. It's just kind of magical that way. And when you have something that's fun and safe for all ages, then all ages are going to be on it, from 90-year-old great grandma to the baby who was born 3 months ago and his parents are taking him along.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some nostalgia there. When you think that 1955, if someone had, ridden this as a kid in, the 50s or 60s, it's the same ride now that it was then. And it's not a Small World where it gets stuck in your head. I will say this ride challenges me the most as a thinking adult, because when I go to Disney, I want to be swept away and I want it to be magical. This ride, I want to know how it works, and I want to see like behind the scenes. I try to not do that, especially on this ride, because I love it so much. When I'm on Small World and I'm bored, I'm like looking at the ceiling. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of like theatrical lighting up there. Like I'm taking that kind of stuff in.
Yeah.
I really need to not do that on Peter Pan because it's so short.
The air conditioners up there.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, well, there's the track. I can see where it's going. Stuff like that. I have a problem.
Anybody else have any thoughts on Peter Pan before we move on? No?
One more thing I will say is I do love like the attention to detail. Like when you first go out the window, you've got like just the backyard down there, and it's nice and big. And then you go a little bit further, and you can see more of London, and the towns are all much smaller. And then as you go over Neverland, it's small, but then as you get closer, it gets bigger. So I like this. I love the sense of scale from scene to scene.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Agreed.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, you want to do yours next?
Sure. Since Nick took my Haunted Mansion, I went with the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Another fantastic ride. Another ride.
I've done that one too.
Oh dear, Andy is frozen.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Yay!
Is that just me?
Yeah, that was you.
That was all you.
Oh, damn. Oops. Okay. So another ride that is just, it blows me away. Now, Jonna, I'm sure you've got some thoughts on this one versus California.
It's short.
Yeah. Yeah. As much I love the one in California and Florida. Don't get me wrong, but if you've been on the one in Florida and you've been on the one in California, there is no way you can say otherwise that the one in California is better. It's longer. It's got extra scenes. It's got extra effects. It is just all around better. But the one in Florida is still fantastic. It still holds up. I know some people were iffy about like the whole adding Jack Sparrow into it. I really enjoyed it, adding Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa. And more recently, I know switching out we wants the redhead.
Yep.
To making her into a redheaded pirate, helping out with the auction. I know that's been kind of controversial as well. I don't mind it. I was a little weird at first, but I was like, I got over it. And actually, I think they just announced today that they're possibly looking at Karen Gillan from Doctor Who and Guardians of the Galaxy. I've heard that they might be casting her as Red and the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the new lead. So that'd be kind of cool.
And I actually read a really cool tweet, and I love this idea that they would start the movie with her kind of in that auction with the she starts as We Wants the Redhead and ends the movie as the redheaded pirate queen.
I like that. I like that idea.
Start, and I immediately tweeted back like I love that idea.
But yeah, it's a great ride. It's got that drop at the beginning that like kind of give you like, whoa, wow, what's happening? And then
everybody,
and then you just going through, seeing the pirates. First you're seeing the skeletons and all in the cave, and then you go through, and then you see the pirates attacking the town. You go through the town, seeing them just partying and looting and do their piratey things. While Captain Jack Sparrow is popping up every now and then until he finds the loot at the end. It's just a really fun, and they're able to fit so much into probably not that much room. I mean, their use of space is just fantastic.
Ending Jack Sparrow animatronic is one of the best animatronics on property.
Well, yeah, it is. That is one of the most advanced ones to date. That one, and I want to say the mathematician in the Spaceship Earth are two of the most advanced animatronics that they've recently made.
And
yeah.
Now, Nick, was Jack Sparrow there when you did Pirates?
Yeah,
I think so. I'm pretty sure he was, because I did ride Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm 99% sure that Sparrow was a part of it.
If it was 2012, I think he was there. I think that came. Honestly, if it came within the first 3 movies, it still would have been before 2012.
Yeah, Pirates.
So I think it was definitely a safe bet that you saw.
Either I saw him on the ride or I was walking around Disney. So, but I know I saw Jack Sparrow. So.
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
My big dream is to go to China someday and see the one in Shanghai.
Oh, the one that's got like
their version there I've seen on video, and it's amazing.
They covered that on the Imagineer story, I think, on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Todd, have you seen that series yet?
I have not.
Gotta watch it.
Yeah.
That series yet?
Mm-mm.
Gotta watch it.
I know.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow was added. Yep. Jack Sparrow was added to the ride in 2006.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It was on the ride that I saw him then.
You would absolutely have seen him then.
I have ridden Pirates of the Caribbean.
I gotta say though,
in Disneyland Paris, I cannot tell you if Jack Sparrow was on that one because we got stuck on the chain lift.
Oh no!
For 45 minutes.
Oh no!
So
what I'm hearing
is that we shouldn't ride rides with Todd.
Right, exactly.
You get stuck on everything.
Maybe it's just boat rides. I don't know. It's me and boat.
Have you guys ever been on a boat ride where it's just you and maybe the person that you're with on the boat, and that's it? Because those boats do require a bit of weight to push them down onto the track because they do float. Because I remember when Autumn and I went for her birthday, we had a breakfast reservation at Bell's Castle, and we were like, okay, we got a half hour. Good. We'll go do Pirates, and then we'll head over for breakfast. Get on the rides. Like, why isn't this thing moving? We were literally the only two on the boat. I'm like, come on. And we're like bumping into other boats because they're not moving at all.
I went on Living with the Land, and I've been the only one on that boat before.
As great of a ride as Living with the Land is, that doesn't. You want to ride with no line? You want to get out of the heat, kids? Living with the Land.
Yeah.
But seeds and vegetables.
Hey, you know what? Hydroponic is the gardening of the future. Anything else, Mike, you want to say about Pirates?
Last time Rick and I rode Pirates, we almost learned how they evacuate because we got stuck for a fair little bit. And we were sitting there going, the water looks kind of deep from over here. And I actually saw a video later on about how exactly they do that. And it involves cast members and waiters. So.
Yeah,
So that would have actually been kind of interesting, but somehow they managed to get us moving again.
I love that opening thing with Barbossa's boat firing upon the Spanish prison because that whole area seems so expansive, and you're just in a small warehouse.
Yeah,
and it's just that lighting, that Disney magic. Yeah, exactly. You look up. Oh, look! There's the air grates. There's John McClane in the duct.
Come out to the coast. We'll have 2 laps.
So, all right. Well, I will close this out with. I don't know if it's my favorite ride, but it's certainly the one that, based on my shirt and my old phone case, I'm most obsessed with, is Space Mountain. I love Space Mountain. I love it because there's that fear of the unknown. Because I'm tall, and Todd, I know Mike doesn't go on this ride, but Todd, you on this ride, do you do the?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm like this.
Yeah, I am just convinced,
You
and I'm not.
Hands up.
I'm not a giant. I'm like 6'2". So, but I'm still convinced my head is gonna get lopped off. I'm not like doing this. So when you're doing this with the way that the pods are, and this is something I wish that they would do from California, is have the double-sided rocket. Instead, it's all single file. And usually you've got your bag in front of you, so your legs are like splayed wide open. There's no dignified way to ride this thing. And then when they take your picture, here's me in my little turtle pose. It's like, all my chins just coming back like this because the air is the wind is just blowing me back. There's no such thing as a good picture on Space Mountain. Not one. But I love the ride. I love the design of the exterior. I was so happy we could see it from our resort last year. And it's just like, the castle's great. I love the castle, but damn it, I do love like that Space Mountain at night, that purple lighting.
And I have gone in this ride because Jonna drags me onto it whenever she can.
Okay, well, good. And so what are your thoughts on Space Mountain, folks?
This was the ride that broke my parents from riding rides ever again. When I was 4, I was in the middle pod, and my dad was behind me. My mom was in front of me. I decided it would be great to stand up.
God damn it, Todd.
And I was 4, and I was so scared. But my mom reached behind her, held my knees. My father grabbed me by the shoulders, sat me down, and I screamed the whole ride. I love it now, though. So,
no, that sounds very similar to when my wife went when she was 10. Her sister was 5, and their mother was just like, "Oh, it's okay. This will be an okay ride for Danielle." They go on the ride. Danielle's quiet the entire time. They walk down that very long, needlessly long hallway to get out. The second the sunlight hits their faces, my mother-in-law looks at my sister-in-law and goes, "What did you think?" And she just looks up and she screams.
Yeah, traumatizing children since 1970.
Yep. Now, the only trauma I've had with this ride is like I usually am, because I'm always the pack mule whenever we go. So I'm the one with the bag. And when we went last year, we had like the extra, the resort hour. And not only did I have the bag, but I had Jamie's Buzz Lightyear, like the big life, like the big Buzz Lightyear. And all this other stuff crammed into the car. Like they had to have a cast member like, okay, could you put that over here? And then you can put that over here. And now the restraint will come down so you don't die.
I didn't grow up afraid of it because by the time I went on the Space Mountain at Disneyland, I'd already been on Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Yep.
So I think I had pretty much gotten all the fear out of me at a very early age, and I was.
Isn't it crazy what a lightweight roller coaster Space Mountain feels like after you've gone on a Colossus or Superman ride or something like that?
Anything you can do.
Yeah,
it feels lightweight. It's different. And you get a different effect between the Disney World version and the Disneyland version. And I have to say, if I had one quibble with Disney World's version, is that there's too much light, and you don't get quite the illusion that you're shooting off through space that you do in the Disneyland version. And you probably wouldn't be scrunched down so much like a turtle if you were on the Disneyland version, because it's way darker. You're just not seeing the support beams and things like that.
I definitely would be doing that because that's just me. It's like my fight or flight, nature. I'm just like, I have to do this. Yeah, Todd's the same way. It's just, Mike, I'm sure you're the same way. You're tall too. It's just
every now and then, yeah. Well, usually when I'm well, whenever Jonna drags me on this one, I basically just keep my eyes closed because that's the only way I cannot feel the dips.
If your eyes are closed?
Yeah.
It's a ride in the dark, Mike.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
No, I remember Space Mountain like being one of the top rides I love so much. From the takeoff through the whole thing, I love Space Mountain. So I like roller coasters too. So I'm a huge roller coaster fan, and I've been tall. Like for a woman, I'm pretty tall, I'm 5'10". So I've been my height since I was like 11. So like I started getting on rides and things when I was really, really small. So by the time we went to Disney World, I had been on like the boats that flip upside down and big roller coasters and things. And I still like had, like, I think Space Mountain was the first one I got on that did that like 0 to whatever speed it goes to when it takes off like that. It was the first one I had been on that just like shoots like that. And that was so different for me that I loved it.
Yeah, I still get that exhilaration every time I go on it, though. Like you get like that nervous little pit in your stomach every time, and I know I'm going to be okay because I love the ride. But it's still like, ooh.
It's like exciting butterflies.
Exactly.
Anticipation.
I really love this one. So
I enjoyed it in Paris. It was Hyperspace Mountain. So.
Yeah. Did you have the one with the trip to the moon version, like the Jules Verne version?
All the exterior is very Jules Verne, like Doc Brown kind of steam train, but then you go inside and it's Star Wars.
Oh,
but yeah, I didn't have that version.
The Star Wars version that they've done is great, and if there was anything I would think that would get Mike to go on it without complaining, it would be when they're doing it as Hyperspace Mountain, and you have TIE fighters and you have Star Destroyers and whatnot around.
It's awesome.
Yeah, mostly projections and sound effects, but it worked. So
yeah,
with it. Something different,
It's a trap.
Laura Dern, is that you? Sorry, still feeling the feels from the last episode we recorded. So
Which just went up a few days ago.
did, yes, on May the 4th. I was true to my word. So anyway, that was Magic Kingdom. There are so many rides that there's so many other rides that we could talk about. Like, I actually included People Mover on the list because, Mike, that was one of your choices.
Yeah, if Pirates of the Caribbean had been taken, my choice would have been People Mover. I just love the People Mover so
What
much.
a lovely, nice, relaxing time.
It really is.
I love it.
It's, you know what? It's great after lunch. Like, after a meal, that's the ride you go on.
And I'm still like, I know it's a blue sky hope, but I still have a minor hope that someday they'll find some way to bring it back to Disneyland. They still have the rail up.
Oh,
they
yeah.
still have the tracks up.
Yeah, but they have that for the stupid
I
rod
think my
race that lasted a month.
Oh, rocket rods. I think my second favorite would have to be the teacups at the Magic Kingdom. They are the teacups that I remember as a child. Sad to say, for safety reasons out here, due to an accident, they put a restrictor on ours, and so they're very pretty and they look fabulous, but they don't twirl like I remember.
Right.
And
you told me about
I used to go on that one with Daddy, and he would send us whirling like dervish, and I love that. And yeah, that takes me right back. So I love every minute of the teacups at Disney World.
Yeah, it was actually funny. Like, first of all, I can only ride that ride at night because I am a grown up, and apparently my equilibrium isn't what it used to be. So, like, if I do it during the day, I'm like, I'm gonna be sick now. But you do it at night, you're fine. And when we did our extra hours, it was so sad because it's like nobody was on the ride, and the cast members that were like running the ride were like, "Hey, we're open, no line. I'll get you. We'll let you go twice."
Oh, I'd have been there. I'd have been right there.
It's like, what was I gonna do? Go to the Tomorrowland Speedway, which hasn't been open in 3 years?
I am shocked that they haven't switched those over to electrical cars because I think they're all like diesel and they smell.
Smell.
Oh,
They take your idea and
Sugar Rush. That's what I said. They should make it Sugar Rush.
yeah.
but they'd have to find a way to deal with that smell because diesel, definitely not Sugar Rush.
Oh, definitely not. You can't sweeten up the smell of diesel.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking us on a little vacation that we can't take right now. So next week we're gonna which one should we do next week, Mike? We want to just do the logical one and go right to Epcot, or do you want to do a different park instead?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go chronological. Yeah, Epcot.
All right, cool. So next week we will cover our favorite attractions at Epcot, or
My favorite park, actually.
Adventure.
that.
No? All right.
I didn't hear you say it, Todd.
Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Which is closed.
I'm
Yeah.
joking. I know.
Yeah.
That's my favorite park, though.
It's my daughter's favorite park, and I have a feeling that when she is older and she goes with like her college friends or whatever, once she is of legal age, that is absolutely going to be her favorite park. Just call me crazy. I just have a feeling that's going to happen. So anyway, Nick, tell us where we can hear your podcast and where we can communicate with you on the social medias.
Yeah, so our social media and our website is blackgirlsdostuff2.com for the website. Except for Twitter, where we're BLK Girls Do Stuff because it was too many characters. And that's where we're the most active. So come talk to us. We crack jokes all day. I combat everybody's bad takes, and I talk about Chris Evans. Although I haven't talked about him for a while because we let him down with the way that our episode about him performed, and I can't face the truth. So,
Quite all right. Quite all right.
Chris Evans is your Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
To M.
Yeah.
We'll have a double wedding. It'll be her and Keanu.
And yours, Chris Evans.
Chris, yeah.
It'd be so adorable.
Yeah. No, and ready to connect us,
Yeah. And you can find me, Mike, and occasionally Todd.
Often Todd.
Often Todd now. Yes, actually, he's more often Todd now. You can find us at geeksalad.podbean.com, where you can get every episode that we've ever put on Podbean. You can also listen to our show on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Google Music, and iHeartRadio. You can also check out our weekly videos right here on YouTube. Don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know below in the comments, what is your favorite ride at Magic Kingdom? I'd love to hear what your answers are. Please keep it civil, for civility's sake. And yeah, like I could talk. And you can also find us on the socials at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter and Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook, where we will definitely be putting up more polls for the other rides, so we can get some viewer reactions as well. So, Jonna, thank you so much for joining us. Todd, thank you
for having me.
Nick, as always, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
I love having you guys on the show. It's so much fun having so many different voices talk on this subject. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later, and have a magical day.
That's right. I gotta keep forgetting I have to hit the button.